Has to be a goal. Stopped. Killian Young has it. And the ball comes out with Brian Sheehan. Right beside him is Kieran O'Leary. So too is Barry John Keane. In the middle is Paul Gainey. And there's nobody else around. Here comes Kevin Keane. Never took his eye off the ball. Is there one charge left for Mayo? Everybody, all 36,256 people on their feet here. Keith Higgins, ball inside towards Lee Keegan. Here's Alan Freeman. Is he brought down? It surely is another free. And the referee, Cormac Riley, has blown his whistle. But there's a bit of afters going on again.
There's Killian O'Connor reaching out for the ball with his foot, caught a player. And this is totally getting out of hand. But we're careering towards an inevitable end and a Kerry victory.
And there's another free from Mayo. Robbie Henley, goalkeeper, has come forward this time as well. The drama continues.
And it's palpable, and while the game was played in a sporting manner right throughout the afternoon, there was elements of tension throughout the game, but a good positive tension in the game. I'm not excusing the behaviour of this, but you can understand the frustration having put in, a red for Killian O'Connor.
It's a red card for Killian O'Connor.
Yeah. He did just as he was going for the ball. It was just in frustration. We might see it again. Unlucky, but a deserved red card.
There is now nobody in the Mayo half of the field. Robbie Henley is running down. What you see is all 28 players, I can now tell you, around here. Kieran Donaghy comes away with it, not very far. Referee blows the full-time whistle, and Kerry are in the All-Ireland final on the 21st of September. The battle is over. The kingdom rejoice. Heartbreak from Mayo and James Horde.
Absolute heartbreak. Your heart would go out to them. And you know, many years ago, not something too dissimilar, 91, and at Dublin and Meath, 4 games. We had so much excitement here this afternoon, but I can certainly understand their feeling. They gave it absolutely everything.
Last year, great scenes down here, but what great scenes there are this evening at the end of extra time, and that's the way it all played out in terms of the stats. In the commentary box, by the way, for us today, Marty Morrissey, of course, and Tom Carr. Colin O'Rourke, for a while there, as we went through extra time, I was thinking about 1991 and Dublin and Meath and that epic encounter.
Yeah, well, I suppose we had 2 more games to run, and in the end Mayo ran out of road and ran out of players. Kerry seemed fresher, but I think the turning point was the first period of extra time when Mayo were quite dominant and they missed several very good chances, and Lee Keegan had a chance of a goal, Kevin McLaughlin had a chance of a goal.
All right, lads, there were some heroic performances out there today. Our man of the match from this evening's All-Ireland football semi-final replay is Kerry's James O'Donoghue, and he is with Damien O'Mara.
So just delighted to get over the line and look forward to an All-Ireland final. Last time I didn't play in 2011, so hopefully I get a game this year and hopefully win it.
I think your place is probably fairly guaranteed. It's been a remarkable year for you personally, but will it count for anything if you don't have an All-Ireland medal to reflect upon?
No. There's only one thing in Kerry, and that's the All-Ireland. So we said at the start of the year, we'll get to the final, shoot it out, you know. It'd be a good team to beat us. Donegal and Dublin are very good sides, but you know, we're there now and we have a chance.
It's been interesting because there's always so much attention on Kerry. People were very quick to write you off during the league and early in the year. There's probably a lot of people owe you an apology, but this team have believed since day one that you're capable of mixing it with the best this year.
Well, it's been a steep learning curve. I mean, at the start of the year, no one gave us a chance, and it was tough around the place, you know, because people thought we were going to give nothing in the championship. So, you know, we proved a few people wrong, got to the final. It still counts for nothing unless we put on a good show up there. Just
a final question from a physical perspective. Yeah. People might say Dublin and Donegal will be delighted to see what Kerry has had to go through. How draining have the 2 games been?
Draining. Draining, but I mean, 2 championship games stands to you. 1 of them with extra time. It's like 2 months training. You can't buy that time on the field, so I think it might be an advantage for us. Hopefully we'll try and use it, spin it our way, and hopefully it'll give us an edge.
Well, congratulations, you are the Super Value RTE man of the match, and with your
games, but Kerry just did that bit extra in those last 10 minutes. Deserving winners for you?
Yeah, they were deserving winners. Like Mayo are gallant losers, but that's not much value to them after the road they'd been on. But in the end, it came down to an unknown player, Jonathan Lyne, who came on and kicked 2 beautiful points, and Paul Ganey. So the unknown players, the new players that Eamon Fitzmaurice has found and added to his squad from last year, proved the difference in the end. But Mayo went down like they were carried out on their shield as always.
Yes.
But it looks as if this Mayo team, that the road to an All-Ireland has come to an end. Now, in saying that, Mayo will bounce back and they'll probably be in the quarter-final again next year because of the easier route through. But you know, it's hard to see this group of players winning an All-Ireland.
You need to finish games out, and that's always been their problem. I mean, and it was summed up the perfect moment. Kevin McLaughlin gets the ball, he's inside, all he's got to do is stick it in the net, and Mayo were home. In the first period of extra time at that stage, they would have gone 1-2 to no score up, and he elects to pop it over the bar. Well, Michael Murphy wouldn't have popped it over the bar, or Colin McFadden, or James O'Donoghue wouldn't have elected to pop it over the bar. You know, nor would Diarmuid Connolly or Bernard Brogan. The ball would have been in the net, and the game would be over. And someone always comes along with a bit of bite. You know, it was Donegal 2 years ago, it was Dublin last year, Kerry this year. And, you know, you feel sorry for Mayo, but, you know, you get what you deserve here. And they just don't have that ruthlessness. And, you know, this is going to remain the story for this Mayo group, unfortunately.
Alan Mulholland, you know Mayo football better than anybody in this studio. What do you make of this? What is this going to mean to them long term?
I've been on the end of their ruthlessness. I wouldn't quite agree that they're not a group of ruthless
Well, you're
players.
not comparing like with like. You know, you're talking about winning an All-Ireland here.
Yeah, but you know, I wouldn't fault them. Their application,
neither would I.
Their ruthlessness. They are very ruthless.
Yeah.
You know, they're maybe missing a small bit of quality at the very end of the other end of the pitch. You know, up in the full forward line. And I think, but the difference between the two teams today was the efficiency Kerry had. And Mayo seemed to be...
The difference was Kevin McLaughlin's goal chance. If it goes in the net, the game's over. And he was clean through. He's well capable of scoring it. He opted out of it.
Yeah.
He opted out of it.
I would say, though, in the second half of the extra time, you know, the guys who dug Mayo out of holes in the past, the Cullen Boyles and the Andy Morans, and, you know, Donald Vaughan got taken off as well, and Aidan O'Shea. There was something up with Aidan O'Shea today. Obviously, the eye probably couldn't stop the bleeding. And they were all missing.
Saturday.
Yeah, it was a distinct possibility, definitely, Michael. You know, there was very little between the teams over the 2 days. You know, it took extra time the second day, and definitely it wouldn't have been beyond the realms of possibility to have been heading for Dublin again next weekend.
Eamon, your lads found that extra bit in that last 10 minutes there. Where did that come from?
It's hard to put our finger on it, I suppose, this early after the game, Michael. You know, there's a massive desire in the group. A lot of those lads have no All-Ireland medal. Some of our experienced lads have a couple, all right, but a lot of those younger lads don't have an All-Ireland medal at any grade. So there's massive hunger in the group. There's a massive togetherness in the group. There's great spirit there, and I think that was visible definitely there today.
Let's go back, Eamon, to normal time, because this game, like last week, was very tight, but there was one difference. At half-time last week, you were 3 points up, and you were 4 points up, actually, and they were a man down. This time, you went in 3 points down yourselves.
We were, yeah, but throughout the season, we were, you know, usually we went in at half-time down, we played better in the second half. The last day we played very well in the first half, but in the second half we were disappointed with 25 to 30 minutes of it, really, where Mayo took over the game and they put us under severe pressure. But I think today that in the second half we certainly showed that we were just going to keep going and stay here as long as it took.
You mentioned there some of the younger players on this Kerry team. This replay, what will that mean to them in terms of that extra bit of experience and match time that they've obviously gained now?
It's brilliant, Michael. I remember going back to play as a player myself. In 2000, we were in an All-Ireland semi-final replay against Armagh, and it brought a lot of us who were young on at the time in terms of experience and, you know, playing in games of those intensities. So it's fantastic for the group, you know, getting those kind of tests mentally, physically, everything else. You can't buy that in terms of training. So we're delighted to have got the 2 games, the extra time, and obviously to have come out on the right side of it.
All right, Eamon, as you know, the panel are here with us in studio. Joe Bradley here with us wants to put a question to you.
No, I was just going to say, Eamon, that the composure of your team is obviously a tribute to you, and obviously, you know, the whatever the Kerry water is like. But I was wondering, is there any chance you would come up to Derry and do something for us?
No, I'm happy enough where I am, Joe, to be honest. There was composure, but right at the end of the game then we lacked a bit of composure at the end of extra time. You know, twice we were in possession coming out 3 points up and we turned it over, and Mayo came down and went looking for goals that could have sent it to Dublin again next weekend. So we did show good composure at times, but again, like every game, there's plenty that we can improve on, and we'll have to improve again for an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, well, it must be most gratifying that without James O'Donoghue going into the last period of extra time, that the team continued to play with such confidence and verve.
Yeah, we've a very strong squad, Joe. I think maybe nationally that wouldn't be recognised because some of the younger lads in particular mightn't be, you know, national names yet. But we know that we've a very strong squad. There's some lads that weren't even involved in the match day today that have been training with us all summer as well, and they're serious players as well. So I think, you know, nationally maybe people are beginning to realise that we have a strong squad and we've a lot of very good players. So
throw out, I suppose, the fact that they're amateurs, and then reflect on the contest that we had last night, and of course the contest that we had last week. To get that standard of contest within 6 days from amateur players, it was magnificent, absolutely magnificent. The little bit at the end spoiled it the smallest bit, but in an overall sense, there was nothing between the teams right through the 2 matches, a point here or there, when it came down towards the final whistle. And the terrible pity was that there had to be a loser in it. But I couldn't have been more proud of both teams. They served up a spectacle in Limerick in a red-hot atmosphere, I think you described it, and it really was. We were down there doing the radio, both of us, and the buzz in the place, both before the game, during the extra time, and even in the aftermath of it, there was a fantastic buzz in Limerick. But the contest is what will remain in my memory, just a savage honesty from both teams to try and win the spoils.
Yeah, well, Tomas, that atmosphere and the buzz afterwards, the Kerry fans, I've seldom seen them so excited to win a semi-final. I suppose this team wasn't expected to get so far. But for you watching it, it must be strange, given you only retired a few months ago and now they're in an All-Ireland final. Was it strange for you watching it?
Not really, Des. I really enjoyed it. Over the 2 days, you know, there were 2 brilliant matches. Mayo were outstanding over the 2 days, and Kerry were lucky enough to get the second chance, and they took it. I think Kerry, at the start of this year, a lot of people would have been questioning with the players that retired, would they be competing at the top table? And a lot of people were saying that we were in transition and all this, and I think Fitzmaurice deserves a pile of credit for what he has done. Kerry are in the senior final and then they're in the minor final, so things are looking good. I think there was a lot of relief that we actually got to the final today, and I think Fitzmaurice showed unbelievable courage this week. He dropped Mark, and he also started Kieran Donaghy, which was a big move as well. And basically in replays days, it's the team that do their homework the most that come through, and I think Kerry really focused in on where Mayo were strong, and they probably deserved it in the end.
Yeah, just on that, somebody told me it's the first time since 1993 that Kerry played a championship match without someone from your house on the team, which is an extraordinary record, isn't it?
It is, and
without them starting.
Well, hopefully he'll start the final.
He'll argue that he should have started, of course.
Yeah.
He did very well when he came on.
And you didn't want to be out there yourself at any point, no?
I did. Halfway through the extra time, I would have loved to be out there around the middle of the field. There was breaking balls there. And
I was handy in the last 10 minutes now. They were all tired.
Well, I mean, watching it was just brilliant. The atmosphere there was electric inside in the stand, and it was just brilliant to be part of.
And Mark, Mayo players don't want to hear patronising praise. I mean, I'm sure they're thinking, but they have been fantastic over the last 4 years and given their supporters so much to cheer about and enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, and you have to feel for them. You know, this last 2 years, beating an All-Ireland final, now an All-Ireland semi-final. You know, if you look at it, you know, they beat us handy enough last year in a semi-final, where again, like a bit like Dublin, where they tested enough, you know, coming through Connacht, and you know, Kerry gave them the good test last weekend, and they probably didn't learn enough from it. But you know, the work that the players and the management team, James Horan and Tony Buckley, have done for Mayo football, like four Connacht titles in 4 years, outstanding. And you know, it's sad to see James Horan go, because he was a top top class manager, but it's a pure kick in the teeth for them, and they're going to have to regroup now again and hopefully come stronger. And because looking at that Mayo team, you always felt like there was an All Ireland in them. And there's a few maybe older boys there in the team, but they've always good minor under 21 teams coming through. So hopefully in the next few years we'll see an All Ireland from Mayo.
Okay, well let's look at then the key areas. And Tomas, you thought the middle eight was crucial for Kerry.
Yeah, Des, I think if you look at last week's 25 minutes after half-time, it was number 5 to number 9 where Mayo were really, really strong. I think it's their strongest part of their team when they were running at you. I think Kerry really worked hard around that middle eight today. We've said it all year. It's somewhere where Kerry needed to improve. I think they were outstanding, defending and attacking. They were support. There was guys off the shoulder constantly. It was brilliant to watch, and they knew they had to carry that game, because the worry in Kerry was that if Mayo played like they did in the second half for longer, that they'd be in trouble. But each one to a man stood up to it, and this is where you learn your homework. Say in between games, I would have no doubt that they would have had Mayo really, really analysed, and they would have seen. There's a saying: you hammer the hammer. You go where Mayo's strengths are, and that, I think, from number 5 to number 9 was Mayo's strongest point, and Kerry attacked that, and they did very well out of it.
And one of the key men in that area was David Moran, midfield.
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely outstanding, Des. He had a massive game. It was a huge thing. I mean, Mayo are really strong around the middle of the park, and it's one of the areas where you really needed somebody to stand up, and he stood up today. I thought it was one of his best performances ever in a Kerry jersey. All day long, he just carried the game to Mayo. I mean, for a player to have 20 touches in a game or 20 possessions in a game, Des, is huge, and this guy had 47 possessions. It's a statistic I couldn't believe. From start to end, he was absolutely brilliant. I suppose in Kerry they'd question, have we found a midfielder since Dara? And I thought yesterday I think it's brilliant for him going into an All-Ireland final playing the way he is. He's after coming back from a serious injury, and he caught a great ball there towards
He's
the end
physically
of the game,
very strong, isn't he?
He's physically a very, very strong lad, and he has a great attitude, and as I said, he's after coming back from serious injuries, and he had a brilliant game, and they'll need him going the similar way in the final if we're to win.
Okay, well, another man who's been around a long time, and you've been kind of looking back over his career and how he's evolved, is Kieran Donaghy.
Yeah, he's the guts of 10 years now doing his thing. You remember he kind of announced himself so long ago against Longford in that famous qualifier, and he's been causing a lot of problems since. He's changed, obviously, athletically, physically. He's not the all-marauding full forward that he used to be, but he's still very effective.
How can you stop him?
He uses the body these days incredibly well. You know, if he was a basketballer, you'd say he was a top-class post player. He backs into you, he holds you off with one hand, but this is a threat that's well known. So I would have been disappointed that Mayo didn't do a bit more around him, because you can only match him with size. You have to, you know. So he's 16 stone. He's 6'5". He was taking a lot of height and weight against Ger Cafferty. So like Donald Vaughan is another extra 2 inches, an extra 2 stones or stone and a half to cut. That's what you have. It's very difficult to mark size, Des, because he's going to get his paw on it. And I should say that just about every chance he got last night in Limerick ended up in a goal chance for Kerry. Now that is, how savage is that threat? And he kept at it. He got penalties and flicks here and there. It is outstanding.
Tyrone put the McMahons on him, do you remember? Big men.
Tall guys, and broke everything. Never gave him the chance to get into it.
Out of the amount of ball that went into him, I think every single time he caused trouble with it. You know, I used to love playing. If you were ever in trouble, all you need to do is lamp it into your man, and something would come out of it. You know.
Great tactics in that.
Would have been worth maybe putting one of those shades. He was causing that much trouble. Well, would have been worth putting one of those shades just back to break, as you said, as McMahon's did.
To say this, that the substitution eventually of Ger Cafferty, was a clubman of my own, a fellow I greatly admire, but the substitution for him was a required substitution. He came off injured. It was not a tactical substitution. Yeah. So it was 67, 68 minutes. Something had to go into the mix.
Cafferty isn't playing with confidence.
Of course.
And Donaghy is.
Yes.
You know, it's that mix.
But you can't just let Kieran Donaghy dictate it, or Kerry dictate it with the fong or the lamp, as Tomas says. You can't just be fonging it in and not react. You have to do something.
Okay then. Now, what Kerry do so well, and some people say it's a simple enough skill, is kick passing.
Anything but. It's just a very natural skill for them. They obviously practice it. They can't just jump out of the cot and know how to kick pass, but they're so confident with it. And while other teams say, well, we kick pass too, the kick pass into space where you're collecting the ball out of the corner flag and you have a mountain of work to do, they're kick passing to advantage. They're kick passing very close to your channel, so that when you get it, we'll just have a peep at it here. When you get it, you're getting it on your first hop to advantage, so that you can dictate the next one. I think this is Youngini here. And one-handed, he just holds off Tom Caniff, and you had a beautiful pass to advantage, one hop on it again. So the receiver is dictating everything that's happening. Now they get a break here, brilliant block by Keith Higgins, but the follow-up, there he is again, young Donaghy, flicking it into the net. And them's the breaks you get when you put defences under pressure with excellent kick passing, compared to the Mayo support game, which is highly attritional.
It's not a secret. You were telling me kick passing is a key part of what you do in Kerry.
It is huge. Des, it's called football. So I mean, we spend a pile of time kicking before training. You know, it's a simple thing to do, but they spend 20 minutes before every session just basically kicking off weak leg and off the strong leg. Another thing I'd like to mention, I thought Keith Higgins' battle with James O'Donoghue over the 2 days was phenomenal. I thought Higgins did absolutely brilliantly, you know, and Donoghue still came out of it with scores every single day. I thought Higgins defended. He's probably the best cornerback in the country, and it was really, really tough on him, and he had a lot to handle, but he did very, very well. And over the 2 days, I thought it was something special to watch. All
right, now there were 3 penalties in the game. Let's have a look at them, Mark. You might take a look at the first one. Give us your verdict. Were they penalties?
Yeah, well, this first one, you know, it was a bad shot by O'Shea, and Enright cut the wrong side of O'Connor and just pulled him down. Now, listen, we'll chat a bit more about the referee later on, but it was definitely probably a black card, and the Mayo support probably wouldn't be happy with it. And Killian Connor finished at the bottom corner this time, same side where he went for the one, the top.
Tomas, this one, is it?
This one I thought was maybe possibly iffy. I don't know, I thought it was harsh on Mayo there to get a penalty, to be honest with you, Des. If it wasn't given, I don't think Kerry would have been complaining that much, but in fairness to Donoghue, he stuck the penalties brilliantly. You know, he's great confidence.
Yeah, I've no issue with this because Gerard Carfaghy is tackling with the leg, and you cannot tackle a man that's kicking the ball or picking up the ball with your leg. So it is a penalty. A lot of people are seeing it as a tough one. No, it's good, and the execution, of course, absolutely brilliant.
Tomas, you're a bit non-committal there. You said it was maybe, possibly iffy, but so the Mayo fans can take out of what they want. Now, speaking of the Mayo fans, they were hugely frustrated, a lot of them onto us, about some of the refereeing decisions. So, Kevin, you are a Mayo man. I was sitting beside you. You were frustrated. Illustrate to us what frustrated you.
Well, can I first say, look, I'm not throwing on a green and red jersey. I just wouldn't do that. But the 2 teams yesterday deserved a top-class refereeing performance. I'm going to say that the performance of Cormac Riley was appalling. Like, that's a tough word to use.
It was a tough match to referee. Now, would you accept that?
Absolutely. But when I show you some of the stuff that went on in this game, the players at this level just deserve a bit more than a referee that eventually the game just ran away from him. It was nearly out of control. This is the first incident. Shane Enright and Killian O'Connor, rightly so, get a yellow for rowing on the 40 a few seconds earlier. And then we have the penalty situation where Killian O'Connor comes inside. Now, that's a black card, and if he's in any doubt that he's not sure it's deliberate, well, it's definitely a yellow card. But he doesn't give either because he knows Shane Enright has to leave the field.
Yeah.
This is Shane Enright again as Aidan O'Shea powers down. We've circled him, and watch what happens when he gives the pass. But because Mayo get a goal, the referee doesn't bother. He's cleaned out of it there, and that's at least a yellow card, if not a red card. Taken out late, and black cards were for those sort of cynical ones. Watch the double hop by the Mayo man, Jason Doherty. 1 hop, 2 hops, no problem. You can hop all day. Kevin McLaughlin, 1 hop, 2 hop, and again no whistle. Hand trip, no black card. I'm trying to show that it went both ways. It cuts both ways, and especially a few later on when Andy Moran gets the ball, cuts inside. John Fitzgerald hand trips him, and he does get a black card.
The same as the last one.
How frustrating is that for top-class players when they see it's okay one side but not another? This one was just hilarious. He blows the whistle here for a foul. and up gets Anthony Maher. Watch the restart. This is a new way to restart a free. Punches the ball out to the wing, and the referee just says, play on. Now, you might have thought he played advantage. He didn't. He blew his whistle. Peter Crowley wins a dirty ball and charges clean into Colm Boyle. It's a free to Kerry. The ball is kicked in by Anthony Maher. And my old friend Kieran Donaghy, now I've seen more contact in a ballet lesson. But the funny thing is here, look where the foul is committed. And this is why Kerry can always have a chance in an All-Ireland final. It's called cuteness. Barry John has a really difficult free. That's 5 seconds ago. He's a tap over now because he's going to kick it just about now from in front of the goal. And the referee doesn't see anything wrong with that. Like, it's not good enough, Des, essentially. And this one, where Barry John goes through and just flings them. So this is an extra time where Mayo are 2 points up, and these are critical calls.
That was a huge score, that
absolutely
one.
Huge, huge calls. And they're not, I would say 70-30 were the calls, the crucial calls that went against Mayo. So that's my sense of it. I hope I'm being as fair as I can. The pictures don't lie, essentially. And if I went into the tackling that went on, where Mayo are, everyone knows, the national leaders in it, the amount of calls that went against the tackle, and a lot of the Kerry ones as well, it was just shocking. It was very, very disappointing.
Okay, now, speaking of disappointing, it was an unbelievable occasion. Everyone loved it. But the scenes at the end did take a lot from it. And on the radio this morning, people were saying, why does the GA ignore all of this? I mean, what do you do with these scenes at the end, you know?
Well, you can't blame the referee for this, Des, in
no,
fairness.
indeed
this is,
not.
This is out of control. But you see, one of the great cancers in the GA is we will not accept discipline.
This fella ended up getting his
about-
photograph taken in a chipper afterwards, laughing.
Yeah. Whatever about the 30 players on the field is, when you see other people getting involved.
Look at the ref now,
or
you know,
water
having to be
boys,
protected.
That was just awful. And you know what?
Took away from it a bit,
seldom
didn't it?
that you actually see the crowds coming onto the field again, you know, and I suppose if it is, I mean, Mayo would have been browned off at the end of that game, and anything could happen. I was in a match one day, and I was attacked from one of the crowd. After a Tyrone game. Tyrone had actually won. I don't know why he was coming after me, but
Finish you off.
But I mean, it's dangerous, and whatever amount of players are on the field, it's fine. But when you have other people coming on, it's just not good.
Okay, all right then. Let's get the post-match reaction then from the two camps.
The battle is over. The kingdom rejoice. Heartbreak from Mayo.
We had to come back from the debt a couple of times over the two fixtures, and the lads showed great character and there's great spirit in the group. But we just about hung on there at the end, you know, typical to the way Mayo have been. They kept coming and they kept coming, and we barely hung on in the end.
Will it go?
We're just delighted to be going for Croke Park again in 3 weeks' time.
It's O'Connor again, and Brian Kelly is there, but it's in the net.
Immensely proud of the players today and that Mayo team who gave everything they had today.
It's measured in medals, not finals, you know, so we've nothing won yet. And I think that's the key coming out, although we're delighted to get over today. It's about winning finals, you know, and even, you know, they'll tell you that, like, there's no satisfaction getting there and losing, you know, so we've a big 3 weeks and we've nothing won yet.
I suppose we have a lot of young players that have coming through this year, and that's aiming after bringing those players in, like, and they were fantastic today. They were fantastic last we were dead and buried with nearly 7 minutes to go last week. They brought us back into a game today, like, and today there was a few times you could say we were gone, and you know, those young guys came on there an extra time and they stood up again.
I think it was a lot of togetherness. It was going to be extremely close, and then it turned out to be even closer than people predicted.
Sides are level in this All-Ireland Senior Football semi-final replay.
We just came together and there was going to be nothing in it. I think maybe we took a few chances.
1 against 1, but Keith Higgins shrugs him off, and Higgins responds, and Donaghy is there. Kerry are back in the match.
Maybe our bench came on, was a little stronger than what they brought on, but it was so close, you know, if that shot went in at the end.
If it goes over the bar, Mayo are in the All-Ireland football final.
We would have been licking our wounds inside the dressing room, you know, but thankfully we got over the line.
I'm delighted with the games, especially when you have a young squad with a lot of lads getting the experience of that intensity and that level of mental fortitude that was shown. It was fantastic, and it's only good for the lads.
You know, there's always a goal there that you're trying to look to achieve, but you know, we set out a couple of years ago to be you know, consistently competitive and be up there in the top teams of the country, and we're definitely up there. You know, a couple of things here and there, and you never know what could happen. So you know, Mayo football is where it wants to be. It's on the up.
There's only one thing in Kerry, and that's the All-Ireland. So we said at the start of the year, we'll get to the final, shoot it out. It'll be a good team to beat us. You know, we're there now and we have a chance.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And of course, after the game, James Horan stood down as Mayo manager. And Kevin, it has to be said, in 4 years, he says Mayo football has moved on, but he brought Mayo football on, didn't he, big time?
Well, 4 Connacht titles, and the All-Ireland series, top 4 every year consistently under his watch. I'd say, you know, it's horrendously disappointing for James Horan to see that journey over now without the reward of an All-Ireland, because Mayo are within amen of an All-Ireland, and I use my tenses very carefully there. They really are, Des. But James can look back and say, certainly in my lifetime, that he was one of the top 3 managers in the county, brought Mayo to a completely new level in the game, a lot of respect. Their honesty and the pride they have in the jersey. They may not be the complete package as footballers, but they're as honest as the day is long. Now, that's something very new in Mayo, I can tell you, and I can go back to the 70s, perhaps, in that. Okay. And he has to be immensely proud of that, but it's ultimately shockingly disappointing.
Okay, then. Your name is in the mix, obviously, now.
Look, yes, people are talking about that. I hope I have the respect of the Mayo GA public that at least I might get a phone call. Might get a short one, a long one, I don't know. But tonight really isn't about that. Tonight's about a team just taking a deep breath and reflecting on the season that's behind them. But can I say this, Des, and it's not a rallying cry or anything, it is a fact. We're a very resilient race of people. We will be back for the National League and the Championship again with the same determination and maybe even more, who knows. You don't know where this mad game of football leads you. Look what happened in Dublin today in Donegal.
Yeah. 3 West of Ireland men sitting there together, all resilient. All right then, now for a look back at today's Electric Ireland minor semi-final. Kerry have already booked their place